Welcome to Aaj Ki Charcha, our special analysis for today. We're diving into something that is just absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, if you've ever seen those insane aerial shots of millions of people packed by a river, stretching out literally as far as the eye can see, you know exactly what we're talking about today. But look, we aren't just going to stare at the crowds. We're completely decoding the faith, the incredibly deep history, and the ancient mystery behind the Kumbh Mela. So buckle up, because this explainer is going to take us on a wild ride through cosmic battles, celestial math, and the sheer undeniable power of human belief.
Okay, let's dive into this with a number. 12, right? Seems like a perfectly ordinary number. But in the context of our analysis today, 12 is huge. It represents a literal cosmic cycle. We're talking about a 12-year wait for the ultimate gathering, the Maha Kumbh. Just imagine that for a second, waiting over a decade for one single moment, one dip in a sacred river. It really sets the massive scale for the whole shebang we're about to uncover.
So here's our roadmap to decode these 5 pillars of mystery. First, the real meaning of Kumbh. Second, the epic of Samudra-Manthan. Third, the mystery of the 12 years. Fourth, the sacred sites in Prayagraj. And finally, the global festival of faith.
All right, part 1. The real meaning of Kumbh. Demystifying the ancient word.
Now you might be wondering, what does that famous word actually mean? Well, Kumbh is just a Sanskrit word that translates to pitcher or kalish. Yeah, literally just a pot. But, in the context of this ancient tradition, it's not just any everyday pot. It's the divine vessel that held the Amrit, the nectar of immortality. Basically, the absolute core of the world's largest gathering is totally centered around the pursuit of what was inside this one specific pitcher.
Which brings us to part 2. The epic of Samudra-Manthan, a legendary clash for immortality. To really grasp why that pitcher is such a big deal, we gotta look at the Samudra-Manthan. And wow, this story is epic. First off, you had gods and demons, who absolutely hated each other, by the way, actually teaming up. They needed each other's strength to churn the cosmic ocean. Imagine this, they used a literal mountain as a churning rod and a giant serpent as a rope. Out of this massive cosmic churning, all these treasures popped out. But the ultimate prize? The Kumbh, that pitcher of nectar. And the second it appeared, boom, the alliance was over. A massive fight broke out over who gets to drink it. So the crucial point is this. During this wild celestial chase to protect the pitcher, a few precious drops of that nectar spilled right out of the Kumbh and fell down to Earth. Which obviously leaves us with one massive question. Where exactly did those drops fall?
Let's dig into part 3, the mystery of 12 years, the mathematics of faith and time.
Before we track down exactly where those drops landed, let's look at the timeline. Because really, why does the Kumbh Mela only happen every 12 years? If millions of people are this eager to go, what's with the massive delay?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly the ancient mythology locks in with actual astronomy. See, in the story, that epic struggle for the pitcher lasted for exactly 12 divine days, and in Hindu tradition, one divine day equals one human year. So that's where the 12-year cycle comes from. But actually, it goes way beyond just a story. This timeline perfectly mirrors the 12-year transit cycle of Jupiter, or Brihaspati, as it moves through the zodiac. The dates for the Kumbh aren't just picked out of a hat. They are locked down by some incredibly strict astrological calculations based on exactly where Jupiter, the Sun, and the Moon are hanging out. It's this brilliant intersection where ancient faith literally meets celestial mechanics.
Moving on to part 4, sacred sites and Prayagraj, the geography of the holy dip.
So, we've got the timing down. Now, which are the 4 sacred sites, and what makes Prayagraj so special? Because remember those spilled drops of nectar? They're believed to have hit Earth at 4 very specific spots in India: Haridwar, Ujjain, Nashik, and Prayagraj.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because you don't actually always have to wait a full 12 years. The festival happens in phases. There's the Ard Kumbh, which just means half Kumbh, and that pops up every 6 years at specific sites, kind of marking the halfway point. But the absolute crown jewel? That's the Maha Kumbh. Every 12 years, the spiritual energy is said to hit its absolute peak for the ultimate Amrit Snan, or holy dip.
And guys, Prayagraj is the undisputed epicenter for this Maha Kumbh. Why? It all comes down to geography. Prayagraj sits right at the Triveni Sangam. That is the incredibly sacred spot where 3 rivers meet: the Ganges, the Yamuna, and the invisible, mythical river Saraswati. Taking a dip right at that exact meeting point, perfectly timed with those astrological charts we talked about, is considered the ultimate Amrit Snan. People believe it cleanses all sins and literally breaks the cycle of rebirth. So the physical geography completely backs up the epic mythology of that spilled nectar.
And finally, Part 5. Global Festival of Faith, the largest peaceful gathering on Earth.
We've talked a lot about gods, demons, and the stars, but to truly wrap our heads around the Kumbh Mela, we have to look at the jaw-dropping modern reality of it. And this brilliantly illustrates what it's become today. The festival is so massive, it's globally recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. I mean, it is literally the largest peaceful congregation of pilgrims on the entire planet. We're talking about tens of millions of people all converging in a temporary tent city that is built completely from scratch. It's a total logistical marvel. And you've got everyone there, from ascetic sadhus who usually live in total isolation in the mountains, to everyday folks with office jobs, people from completely different backgrounds, all brought together by one thing: sheer, unadulterated faith. Just let this thought sink in for a second. A single ancient myth about a spilled pitcher continues to unite the largest peaceful gathering of humans on Earth. I mean, wow. It's just a massive testament to the power of a good story, the depth of cultural roots, and our human need for spiritual connection. Whether you're looking at it for the history, the astrology, or just the sheer mind-blowing scale of the crowds, the Kumbh Mela is an absolute spectacle. Really makes you wonder, what other ancient narratives out there have the power to move millions of people today? Keep that curiosity alive, and we will see you in the next explainer.